Some may say that war has begun. There's no place for peace activists. Others will argue that they're needed now more than with the Metro Peace Action Network. Hi, Peter.
Hello.
Question number one. First of all, have we not learned anything after the Vietnam War? Did that not teach us something?
Well, I think it taught the American government a great deal. One of them was to never let those pictures get out again. And I think that's one of the most fundamental problems with this particular war, as opposed to all the other wars that have taken place since the end of World War II. That this particular war, we're not seeing what's happening. It's the so-called Nintendo war. I mean, many of this is actually old news now. But I think people just don't understand what's going on, with the possible riveting exceptions of those photographs of the bomb shelter that was bombed with the civilians inside. So we learned, we being the governments, have learned not to release those pictures again, because it undermines morale in the home countries, and people will simply come to the streets. And they've also, I think they've learned a strategic difference. I think they've learned to tout the high efficiency of the high-tech weaponry over the bloody kind of ground war confrontation. So they're trying to pull back on that as much as possible. So if human beings have learned anything, I think we've learned the same message we learned from every other war that we've ever fought as a humanity, that we simply can't kill people to solve problems. War is not an answer to a problem.
A lot of the press that I've read and a lot of the comments I've heard from just, your average person has been negative towards peace activists. They don't want to hear what you have to say because they feel that you are against our people in the Gulf if you say anything against them. Mm-hmm. Is there a validity to that?
Well, I welcome the opportunity to discuss that, and I sincerely love to sit down with tea with all the Navy wives and everyone that's got that same concern. And I would tell them the very same thing, that I do in fact support the troops and sailors over there. I support them and all the human beings in the region, and my heart just winces when I see what's happening over there. And there will be victims and there will be survivors of this war, and I support them all. And in terms of direct support for Canadian troops, because I'm a Canadian citizen, obviously, I support them enough that the very focus of my work is to bring them out of that situation so their life is not in peril.
What steps have you taken so far? You were just, you had a delegation in Ottawa.
Yes, the Nova Scotia organizations in Nova Scotia sent a delegate, namely me, to Montreal this past weekend. And
a delegation of one.
well, I mean a representative from all the different areas. And I met with 30 different representatives from across the country, regionally based and nationally organized, as well as an exciting new contingent of Quebec Francophone members. The Regroupement Échec à la Guerre, for example, has 800,000 members in Quebec. So we're seeing incredible organizing happening across this great country of ours, from coast to coast, literally from coast to coast. A representative from Yellowknife, St. John's, Newfoundland, and myself from Halifax. And we took a tremendously powerful weekend to agree on consensus that some very, very fundamental principles that we are urging our government to employ. One is immediate ceasefire, an immediate ceasefire. Stop bombing people. And two, of course, start talking. We don't know where it's going to go. We don't have any demands on negotiations. Palestine may not be included. The Kurdish people, the 17 million Kurds that live there, they would like their own homeland. We're not pushing the Arab community to do what they have to do. We're just saying stop and talk, stop killing and talk. And thirdly, of course, with this upcoming budget in a week from now, is to seriously look at the allocation of $3 million a day for the preparation of war, and look at all the social spending needs that we have here. I mean, it's just appalling, the prioritizing towards violence as some sort of solution.
Tell me some of the stories. What happened when you were up there?
Well, it's amazing. I mean, we sitting at that table in this great big community hall, we had members from the Canadian Federation of Students representing the universities of our country. We had the Anglican Archbishop of Montreal was there. Labor groups, women's groups, veteran organizations, Veterans Against Nuclear Arms. Just a tremendous wide spectrum. Of course, all the pacifists in the country were there as well. A tremendous spectrum of individuals, and we heard from each one of them. We had to go around the table, and we heard just a thumbnail sketch of some of the activities they've been doing. 15,000 people in Vancouver, tens of thousands in some of the big cities in Canada, Toronto, Montreal, to name a few. Initiatives and happenings to mobilize and to give an opportunity to people to speak their piece all across the country.
Okay, what about the government? What was their response?
Well, on Monday we went to Ottawa, took a bus to Ottawa and met with the government. We met with the New Democratic Party because, as you know, they voted to not go have Canada participate in this war. And we, of course, as people that are very concerned about political maneuvers, you know, supporting killing or not supporting killing, we of course support the vote to not support killing. We also had a very good meeting with the Liberal Party. There are 4 members of the Liberal Party that voted against it, and the party as a whole voted in favor of the war. Now, it's a very complex thing because the way the motion was guised was that, you know, we must support the troops and therefore the war. Mr. Axworthy, who I spoke with yesterday, actually was trying to suggest that we actually have 2 resolutions, that we support the troops, but we don't support the war, which I could, you know, wholeheartedly agree with. But unfortunately, the government of the day, the Conservative government, packaged it all together and made it very, very awkward. So we had 4 abstentions, and I thanked the member of parliaments that were there that voted against it because they voted on their conscience. I think there's a significant difficulty in our parliamentary system that you have to vote where the party votes and not where you want to vote as an individual conscious member.
Well, thank you for sharing some of your experiences with us.
Sure.
Peter Davison is with the Metro Peace Action Network. Chris?